Hello Puffins.
Oh hi!
Welcome to another video treat presented to you by Nova and Olympia. Yours truly. What are you doing?
I can't do this without my hand fan. I'm going to melt. Have you nicked it?
I have not taken it anywhere. It's certainly not underneath my thigh. It's not. Nova Genius has left the room because she's just realised she left it in another room. But she'll find a reason to blame me for it because she usually does.
Why did you put it there?
Ah, right, yes. We're here today to finally address something that people have asked about for a while. We've said that we'd always talk about it eventually, so we thought we'd just get it over with.
We've mentioned this briefly in a few videos before, but we've never actually done a whole video telling you the whole story about it. I think it was it 2013?
I believe it was 2013. We had been doing drag for like a year, not very long. We were hot messes, you know, clearly we moved out of that stage. And we were living in an apartment on the top floor of a building. It was a nice building, but it was a horrible area.
If I can get this up on Google Maps, I will show you guys exactly what it looked like, because that will help to imagine things for later on in the story. But basically, this is a story about how we got jumped by a group of guys one night and beaten the shit out of.
Yes.
Yes.
So it was not a pleasant experience, as you can imagine. We were coming home from a night out. We'd gone out with a group of friends to the club that we worked at, and we were coming home about, 1 a.m., something like that?
So this flat was situated maybe a 5-minute drive from this club, but it was quite a long walk. Ordinarily, we would just wait at the bottom of the stairs of this building outside across the road for a cab, because they had to pull in around the corner off the main road. And prior to this event, we would wait on the street corner in drag all the fucking time for a cab and never think anything of the hundreds of people that would walk past us. Some of them would stare, some of them would interact a bit, but we would never think twice. And in hindsight, that was really fucking stupid. So this evening, we've got a picture of that evening, so this is what we look like.
Questionable. But...
And when it came to going home, obviously we were all a little bit drunk. We were all a little bit drunk, so we got a taxi back home, and because our address was a little bit funny, it was a block of flats, we always got it to the corner of this block, just outside this restaurant. And then all we have to do is walk maybe a few feet around this corner, and there's our building. So this is what we did. We were in this taxi with our friend Megan, and we ordered it to this corner of these two roads. And we got out this taxi, and at this point you can literally see our front door from when we got out.
So we were at the front door. It was just us and Megan. We used to live with Megan. You'll remember her from Blankety Blank and The Weakest Link. And
it was a bit before. We got out of the taxi and we're walking towards the front door.
Right.
And Megan says to us, "We're being followed." And we were like, what? And she was like, just get in the building quick, because there's some guys that are following us.
We had the key in the lock, I believe.
It was in my hand.
They came from behind us, so they jumped us from behind. So they didn't even run up and start, what the fuck are you doing? It was, they ran from behind us like fucking cowards. And Megan was just saying, put the key in the door faster. And basically, before we knew it, we were pummeled to the ground. My hair was ripped off and thrown, and bearing in mind how much we glue our hair down and pin it,
my hair was also ripped off.
Very uncomfortable to have that pulled off. If you're a drag queen, if you ever had your hair glued down, you'll realise how hard it is to take off. So that was horrendous. I was quite okay. I got out of it quite okay. Megan wasn't attacked.
I remember her standing there telling these guys to leave us alone, like little Megan. She was like, "Leave him alone."
Yeah, I absolutely love her. She's so small anyway, and there were about 6 of them. Do you remember?
I don't remember it, but I remember saying in our police statement there are about 6 of them.
I can remember being punched to the ground, and Nova got the brunt of this beating. We'll put a photograph up so you can see. And I can just remember seeing them, after they beat us to the ground, just running for it. And there were a group of about 6 guys. They were white, so let's leave that one there.
Vaguely remember, I don't remember words, but I remember a kind of Eastern European accent to this group of people. I could not pinpoint you any more accurately than that.
For a while, we, for some reason, thought they were Polish, but I don't know if we had just heard their accents, heard them talking, and just kind of guessed that, or whether there was anything based in that, and we've since sort of forgotten. I don't know. But they were Eastern European. They were wearing like tracksuits. You know, they looked sort of rough. Oh, speaking of looking rough.
I have no recollection of what these guys looked like. I just remember them all looking very generic. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't remember them having any distinguishing features.
Nothing
They
at
all
all.
just kind of blurred into one. But it was such a strange... It happened so quickly and it was so bizarre because the building has like some stairs that go up in like an L shape to the left to the door. And the stairs had railings on all around. So we were in like this kind of enclosed space. And there were a few guys, maybe 2 or 3 that actually came up to the stairs towards us. Then there were people stood to the side of the railings, attacking us over the railings. So we really were like surrounded on all sides. And all I remember is, I remember being on the ground. I don't remember any specific like punches or anything like that. I just remember being on the ground.
It happened very quickly, and you know, it was so going from sort of having a really great night out, and you're sort of tired, and you're kind of on your way home, and you're feeling really good and stuff, and then all of a sudden to have that happen, the shock is, it was literally like, what just happened? I'm suddenly on the floor. My hair is halfway across the road. Like, what? It was so, just, you know, you get taken by surprise, obviously.
I remember very naively actually like handing my like purse to like these guys, like thinking, oh, they just want to mug us, that's what they want. But like, they didn't give a shit. They didn't take anything from us.
Well, no, because they didn't go near Megan, and obviously...
They didn't take anything from us. They ripped our hair off. It was clearly they saw a couple of trannies and thought, right, let's show them what's what.
Let's go beat the shit out of them.
So immediately afterwards, we got into the... Because they ran afterwards. As soon as they decided... I don't know if they saw someone.
It. No, they
I don't
didn't.
know what the cause was. But I remember them running into the distance. And so we got inside, and there's like a little foyer in this building. And we just kind of like looked at ourselves and like assessed what had happened. And I became immediately conscious that I was... Well, at the time, I thought I'd lost a tooth. My teeth did not feel right. I thought I'd lost a tooth. And then going upstairs, looking in the mirror, my teeth were a fucking mess. There were so many broken. That was like the scariest bit. And then as you sober up, it was because I had exposed nerves on my teeth. It was so painful. And all you want to do is like take your makeup off, but my lips were all cut and swollen, and you just want to brush your teeth. But they were so sensitive because of the exposed nerves. Even to drink water was painful. It was horrible.
A lot of Nova's blood up the stairwell of this building, and the next day when your family came around to see us, you know, we went down to get them. There was a lot of blood. It was not nice. It was a fairly vicious attack. The police came and took sort of statements from us.
Well, it was of that evening. We didn't immediately call the police. We'd never been in a situation like this before. Apparently, you're supposed to call the police immediately, which makes sense. But they wouldn't. They did not have a lot of patience with us when we told them it happened about 40 minutes ago. I wanted to take some of my makeup off and just have a glass of water and just sit down because we were so shaken up. And then we rang the police, and they weren't that understanding about it. They were like, you should have called the police straight away. They're probably miles away now, blah, blah, blah. Like in that moment, I didn't care. I didn't think that was very helpful.
There's a strange, when you're in a situation where you have to call the police, you sort of question whether or not you should, because dialing 999 is a big deal. And I don't know, I questioned whether or not that was the right thing to do. You don't want to waste police time. You sort of just take a step back and think, no, that's not right. I mean, looking back, obviously, you call the fucking police.
But also, we had been drinking, and like, you're not thinking clearly. We were tired. It was all just kind of like a bit delirious. So we rang the police. 2 officers came to our flat. They took statements. They initially asked us to keep our hair in plastic bags and not to touch them because it might turn out like DNA evidence or something. And then the following day, we went down to the police station to give proper written statements. And that was done by a lady who was very, very understanding, really, really lovely. She said, so you think this was a homophobic attack? And we said, absolutely, 100%, of course. And she was really taken back by looking at the state of my face at the time, and she was lovely, very, very helpful.
She was so surprised. She just couldn't get her head around the fact that we were just going home. She kept saying, like, you guys were just going home. You were at your front door. You had the key in your hand.
It's not like we were singing or dancing or doing anything.
We weren't being loud.
Home.
We didn't push into absolutely nothing at all. We didn't even see them. So that was a whole shit and shebang. So we were in the newspaper. We were on the Bournemouth Daily Echo website.
This pissed me off because the police asked us. They said, so we're going to put something in the paper to try and find these guys to see if anybody witnessed it, because apparently there was no CCTV, even though it was a very, very public space, very busy road. I thought there was a CCTV camera literally on our front door. Whether it was working or not, I don't know. But apparently there was nothing on CCTV.
Well, we were told that there was a CCTV camera, but it was facing the wrong way.
And they checked all the surrounding CCTV cameras to see if there was a group of people running away from that area around that time. Nobody found anything, so that all became useless. So they did a little shout out in the local paper, the Bournemouth Echo. And they asked us how we wanted to be referred to as. They said, because obviously you were dressed up in women's clothing, what do you want to be called? And I kind of get that this is obviously a straight person tiptoeing around, like, being politically correct about, which I understand and I do appreciate, but it was kind of daft because we were just like, just call us drag queens because we were drag queens. Don't use any other phrasing, just say drag queens, because that's very obvious to the people that matter. That's what we were looking like. We weren't looking like women, we weren't looking like anything else.
So the wording was, it was like, did you witness attack on men dressed in women's clothing? Which was a bit like...
Yeah, did you witness attack on 2 men dressed in women's clothing early hours of Sunday morning?
So a lot of people thought we were like prostitutes, like sort of...
Reading the comments on the article, like, oh, this is probably like some hooking gone wrong. It was just a waste of
It
time.
kind of didn't get to the point of what it was.
I had to take time off work because I did not want to go to work and explain to people why my face was so fucked up. I had an NHS dentist who was shite, I have to say. I went back several times, must have been about 5 or 6 times to get fillings done. I had a root canal, the fillings kept coming off, they couldn't get it stuck on. I still think my teeth look shit. I think they look terrible. And I've still got scar tissue underneath one of my lips, which is why, I mean, my face is a little bit wonky anyway, but I think it's really exaggerated the asymmetry in my face. Now I've got one side of my lip that's slightly fatter.
I've always mentioned
the same
this.
side that my tooth is shorter than it should be. I just think it's so
I don't think
stupid.
it's as noticeable to everyone else. Obviously, it's your face. You see it all the time. No,
The problem is I had braces as a teenager. I had perfect teeth,
Right.
and now I just don't. So that was really annoying.
You got compensation.
I applied through an online website called, I think it was Victim Support. And they wanted basically the police crime number. They wanted to get in touch with my dentist. And in the end, I was compensated £1,000, which covered my dental bill, it covered my wages for the time off work I had, and we had a little bit of money left over. So that was,
Right.
I would definitely recommend, always seek compensation. But Victim Support seemed to be like a no win, no fee type of thing. It wasn't like a private company that did this, it was like a government thing.
Right.
So if you ever find yourself in this situation,
Which we didn't really know about to begin with, and then someone said, well, you should do this, and
That
we were
was
just like,
Kat's
oh,
brother Adam.
go for it.
He said I should look into that. So that was amazing.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is I think the sort of overarching thing that came out of this is that, you know, when Nova's face was well enough again for us to do drag, we went straight back to the club, we went out again.
I remember thinking at the time, I was just so shell-shocked because I very naively in our little bubble, thought we were over this. I didn't realise that this kind of behaviour and these kind of attitudes still existed.
Right.
It was a real wake-up call. But we took that as we have to carry on doing this and we have to do more to try and raise awareness, increase visibility, and try and just kind of squash out some of this ignorance.
Because we, you know, when we would go out, we kind of thought we were invincible. We thought, you know, we you know that there are people in the world that think, you know, ways about what we do. That's always going to be there, and you know that at the back of your mind. But you still go out and you still try and just, you know, be yourself as fully as you can, regardless. And we just thought, well, that's fine. You know, we're going to just ride that all the way to the end. And then, so when that did happen, we were like, that, you know, that does actually happen. So maybe just be a bit more aware of that.
I don't know what we could have done to prevent this.
Nothing
I don't think
at
there was
all.
anything.
Nothing at all.
We used a taxi. We didn't walk home. I don't know what we could have done. So it is what it is. I thought we were being safe that evening, and it was just unavoidable. So I don't know really what advice I can give people to avoid this happening to them.
Just be aware that it might happen to you.
Yeah.
You know, this is Pride season. You might be very keen to go out, you know, in drag. You might be using all the colours in the... What does Rose say? The crayons in the... Whatever it is. Dress up. You might want to go out and be, you know, you as fully as you can, which you should do,
Just
of
stick in a
course.
group. Don't do it on your own. Stick in a group. Be with friends. Because I think if this was one of us on our own, this would have been way worse. The fact that there was 3 of us, I think, dissipated the attention a bit. I would hate to think what would happen if it was just one of us on our own.
Right.
It probably would have been way worse.
But the point
So
is...
stick in groups and just still do it. Still have fun.
That's the point, is Nova and I don't take that kind of criticism of the way that we live, in that capacity. You'll see our mean comments videos is in the same vein. People that try and say that to us and inflict that on us, we just don't give a shit. So don't bother. Save yourself the time and energy, because we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
Nothing that you're going to say or do is going to stop us from doing this, because we think it's fucking hot shit. It's fun. People have messaged us and literally said that because we have, you know, opened up and sort of showed our true selves, and I'm not trying to like blow our own trumpet, whatever the phrase is. What did Rue say? You know, people have said, it's encouraged me to live, you know, honestly and do what I want to do and stuff. So we're going to keep doing it. So up yours.
I think the more and more people that do this, increase visibility and increase awareness, it will make the numbers of ignorant people smaller.
They're going down, guys. It's just a very, very slow pace, but it's going down. It's like a pot-au-feu. It needs a lot of simmering. But it will happen. So the point is, this is why we still have Pride events. So get the fuck out and, you know, don't get hammered and make an ass of yourself. Go out and actually have fun and celebrate the fact that we, you know, should be doing this.
Our friend Marcus Reeves said to us that as an LGBT person, it's not just a privilege to go out and experience Pride and to take part and to march in the parades. It is your responsibility. It is your absolute responsibility. If you have that privilege, you must use it.
Come on, guys, let's do it. So, that is the story of the time that Nova and I were beaten up.
We just wanted to share that with you because
yes.
I feel like we have alluded to it many times, never actually told you the whole story. And we love you guys and just thought it would kind of, I don't know, I just wanted to tell you guys that story.
It's a story that was worth telling. I don't know why it's taken us so long. I think, you know, it's something that we don't dwell on. We don't really think about it. Maybe that's why it took us so long to do, because we just don't think about it anymore. And I think that's, you know, if you're watching this and that kind of thing has happened to you, whether it be something as horrendous as you've been beaten up, or, you know, you've been tormented in some way, or people have said this stuff to you, chances are they don't remember doing it to you. So you shouldn't remember them doing it to you either. These guys that beat us up, do they remember that it happened? I mean, who the fuck knows?
Not once did I think to myself, right, well, I'm never going to do drag again.
Quite the opposite.
Absolutely not. It just, if anything, it was a catalyst to really, really make me want to take this even more seriously and make me want to do it in more places and just be louder about it.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little snippet from us. And yes, Nova, any parting messages?
Just keep on keeping on.
Be proudful.
It's a shit show by default being LGBT, so we've got to make the most of it, and everything will be amazing. And one day, nobody will give a shit, and it'll be great.
And this is another thing to finish off with. A final message. In the words of Joanna Lumley, tell them to bugger off. Greetings to our brand new patrons: Abby Clark, Dakota, Josh Yangsom, James Hinton, Kieran Vayro Leonard, Philip Worthington, Kylie Wallace, Kenneth Moore and Zed Nightingale.